In the valley between the old forest and the village of Mira, they found him in the snow. A wolf pup, alone, small enough to fit in the healer's 2 hands. She brought him inside without a second thought. She named him Gray. He grew up among fires and laughter and the smell of bread. He learned kindness before he learned hunger. He learned trust before he learned danger. He learned what it meant to be loved before the world had a chance to tell him he wasn't supposed to be. The forest watched and waited. It knew his name before he did. When Gray was 3, full-grown, silver-furred, larger than any village dog, the wolves came to the tree line. Not to attack, not to threaten. They simply came and stood there in the moonlight, watching. Gray walked out to meet them, without knowing why. He stood at the edge of the snow, between 2 worlds, the warm lights of the village behind him, the ancient dark of the forest ahead, and felt something he had no name for, something older than memory, older than kindness, older than bread. He looked back at the healer. She was standing in the doorway. She did not call him back. She already knew that love sometimes means opening your hands and letting what you love find out what it is. She nodded, and Gray walked into the forest. He spent a full season with the pack. He learned their silence, the way wolves communicate without words, in the language of breath and posture and the angle of an ear. He learned their paths, the routes through the old forest that had not changed in 1,000 years. He learned their knowing, the ancient, unhurried understanding of creatures who have never been in a hurry to be anything other than what they are. And then, one night, sitting at the edge of a frozen stream with the pack sleeping around him, he missed the fire. He missed the bread. He missed the sound of a human voice saying his name like it meant something. He went back to the village the next morning. They welcomed him home with open arms. But from that day forward, he heard the forest in everything. In the crackling of the fire, in the wind against the shutters, in the silence before a storm. He was not one thing anymore. He was not the other either. He was both. And he was learning that both was not a burden. It was a gift.
The hard winter came, the kind that kills. The wolf pack was starving, their hunting grounds buried under 3 feet of ice. The village was frightened. The wolves were ranging closer to the farms and the children every night. Both sides stood at the tree line, afraid of each other, in need of each other, neither knowing how to cross. Gray walked to the center. He sat down in the snow between them. And he howled. Not a warning, not a battle cry, a call. It said, in a language both sides understood without knowing they understood it, I belong to both of you, and I am asking you to trust what I am. The pack came first, slow, careful. Then the villagers, step by step. By morning, hunters and wolves were tracking the same deer through the same forest, for the first time in living memory.
That winter, no one froze. No pack went hungry. Gray ran with the wolves under the full moon at night. He lay by the healer's fire and listened to the village children tell stories about a wolf who was also a friend by day. He was the first of something that had no name yet, something the old stories had not thought to tell. The healer, who had words for most things, called him a bridge. Gray turned to look at her, those golden eyes full of something he could not say, and she smiled. You were never forced to choose, she said. You just had to be brave enough to be all of it at once. Here is what Gray's story means. You do not have to choose between the worlds that made you. You do not have to pick one belonging and bury the other. The bravest thing is to stand at the center, open to all of it, and let both worlds come to you. That is not division. That is the bridge.